Hey, what's up? If you click this video, you're probably interested in my view on transitioning from i3 to Hyprland. Or maybe you're generally interested in Hyprland, what it is. So in both cases, you come to the right video. And before we dive into it, allow me to introduce myself real quick and my channel. My name is Eric and my channel name is Tester Tech, and I create videos about automation, Linux, open source, and I also do some coding on the side. If you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of the content I do have planned in the future. With that out of the way, let's talk about the video. So in this video, I'll show you the first steps on getting started from i3, specifically from Fedora i3 spin, and I will install a Hyprland from that basis, and I will be using Fedora 38 for it. So I'll guide you along the way. If you're a little bit familiar with installing programs for the terminal, then yeah, you can follow along easily, I would say. So I'll start and I'll just look at the key bindings. So what key bindings do I have at Fedora? And I try to make the same on Hyprland. And I look at the programs that are installed by default. There are a couple, but not a whole lot. So I'll install some programs to get started. For example, how to configure your displays. Of course, that's very important. And in this setup, I have a dual display. So I have my laptop display and also a capture card. And yeah, just using some tools and some configuration files to get that set up properly. And from there, I'm gonna speak about how to customize windows, for example, transparency, and move them around and doing yeah, stuff with the mouse, the cursors, and positioning and stuff like that. Okay. And after that, I'm gonna configure the way bar with modules. And if you don't know, the way bar is the top bar, it's top of your monitor, which holds some utilities and some launchers. I'll start to configure that, and I will configure a power menu from an existing script, so I'll adapt it to this way bar. And of course, I will have the links to the repository in the description down below. I'll finish up sharing some impressions I have about Hyprland, the current state, and if I'm interested in switching full-time to Hyprland from i3. So stay tuned for that one, and without further ado, let's dig into the video. All right, let's get started. So open up a terminal. This is the i3 session, and I will install first search for Hyprland in the standard repository Fedora 38 i3 spin. And let's give it some time. And here you have no matches found, meaning it's not in the standard repository. And there is a service or infrastructure named Copper, where a user can submit their own packages. And here you have a search result, and this user, I've seen this repository before, that's why I choose it. And it's compatible with Fedora 38, and I will enable it. Here on the right side you can select this piece of text, DNF Copper enable. So let's copy that to the terminal, paste it in there using sudo yes, enabled, and now you can install it. So sudo DNF install Hyprland. And let's give it some time to load, and indeed Hyprland and 3 other libraries. Need to accept this certificate or pub key GPG, and then start installing it. That's complete. And now let's go to Hyprland. I'll exit i3 here, and I will select it, Hyprland, and log in to the system. Alright, if you reached Hyprland, you see a yellow big bar and 2 messages under there. So super Q to run Kitty and super M to exit Hyprland. So this is my external capture card, not giving anything. And I'll basically drop back into i3 and install Kitty from there. So I did super M, logged into i3 and installed Kitty. And now exit again i3. And when we log back into Hyprland, if we choose it, let's log into there. then we will be greeted with the same yellow box, but at least we can tap Windows key, super key Q, as you see me do here. So yeah, that has been done. It's launched Kitty, and just now to remove the yellow bar, remove these texts. So the first program I will install is wdisplays to configure my capture card. And this is the screen from my capture card. So hello Hyprland. And after some installation you will have something like this. And it's quite minimal indeed. And yeah, nothing much to show, but yeah, still you have a working environment. So that's at least something. If you're transitioning from another window manager, maybe it's best to adjust the key bindings so that they're like you are used to. So I did that indeed. Start up a Firefox here. And yeah, if you can see, I have my mouse cursor, and if I press down on the Windows key and right click, and I can resize. So that's nice. So let's go to GitHub. So I have some starter, tester tag. I'm not sure if I have Git on this. No. Git. So while that's running, let's go to the repositories. Hyprland config. It's a work in progress, but I have two folders here. So Hyper and Waybar. Maybe this repository will change a little bit in the future, depending on when you watch this video. Let's give that some time to... you could download the zip if you want, but you can also do it like this. So let's make this a little bit bigger. So make the dir for our git, cd into there, and clone. So I have these two folders, and I want to copy Hyper into, and I will override my existing config. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you should first check what's in there. But if you watch this video, you'll probably get an idea of what the defaults are that I have in this configuration. So that's one, and Waybar, same. Config. Okay. I think I need to reload, and I'm not sure what the shorthand for that is. So let's view the config. So config hyprland.conf. So this is already specific for my environment. So EDP. Let's double check if I even have EDP. Looks like it's already doing. Okay, it's already following my configuration, as you can see. So I was pressing that button, Windows Q, to open up a terminal, but that doesn't correspond with my current configuration. So here we already see Waybar and stuff, and that stuff. So I wanted to hyperctl display to check my displays, display monitors. So I have two displays, LVDS and HDMI. And HDMI is what you see now. It's my capture card. So let's go up. So this is this display, LVDS. So it's LVDS1. And then the resolution. So as you can see here, monitor name, resolution, position, and scale. So it's monitor name, resolution, position, and scale. So I can remove these two. Let's first yank the lines, paste, create a copy, and let's remove these two. And it shouldn't actually change the current layout or the current monitors, but at least it reflects yeah, what I have here. And let's go into the configuration a little bit more. So I have something, yeah, hardware Wayland. So wlroots, I think that stands for WLR, wlroots, and no hardware cursors 1. Was because my capture card wasn't showing the cursors, but this seems to be working fine even before I had this configuration. So doesn't really matter. And here you have touchpad and stuff, gaps you have here, blur, blah blah blah. All right, some window rules. Yeah, it's already transparent as I can see here, indeed. So that is interesting. Let's make it a little bit more transparent just to see the overall. So let's make it 5. The fun thing about Hyprland that it immediately evaluates the config file. So if you make a mistake, then it shows it straight away. And yeah, maybe I should spawn a new window. So let's do Q. So it quits indeed. Oh yeah, of course. The exec console. I don't have console yet, but I will change that to Kitty. Default one, Kitty. So, okay. Yeah, indeed. So the transparency indeed changes. And here you see the new terminal as well. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, so far so good, I would say. But it's a little bit too transparent. And interesting that if you move the cursor, it becomes transparent. If you move it away, then yeah, it becomes opaque. So interesting that. Let's move to here. So let's go to have it 0.9 or something. Let's close it. And before we continue, let's look at installing the Waybar. So first search for it. And it's indeed in the repository, so we can install it. Sudo dnf install Waybar. Before we move on, let me take a moment here and see the weak dependency. Font Awesome 5 free font is a weak dependency of Waybar. Just know that. Later on, I see the Waybar launched and then I don't see the icons. And that's due to something different. That's due to the CSS specification showing a different font. And an iosefka font is used for this version of the Waybar configuration. So that's why I'm struggling a little bit in the beginning, but in the end I found that and I changed. I installed iosefka font, nerd font, and then it worked like expected. So let's take another moment real quick to look at the first launch of Waybar. As you can see, the first info line here is showing the location of xdg Waybar config. And you can also see a style sheet, style.css, and a line below that. And also on the third line, you see disabling module sway/workspaces. Socket path is empty. And I think that is because Sway is actually different than Wayland. Even though it's a wlroot compatible compositor, it's not Sway. So I do change that to Hyprland later in this video. And I just wanted to point this out now. That gives you some context. And what I'll do is just look at the config file, but I also have the starter, and I will use that starter one to further tweak some settings for Waybar. Yeah, just to give you some context. Let's continue. Here you see the way bar with the config, this one, and network manager applet. So that should be this thing here. Let's double check if that works. Let's do it Control Shift C, Control Shift V. That does indeed work. Yeah, so now I have the way bar here, but I do miss some icons. I think these are, yeah, just the standard, you know, the standard icons with, sorry, the standard fonts. Font awesome, I think. Let's grab that. And indeed, yeah, it's still the same in that regard. So, and here you see the CSS files, this one. Module WLR workspace unknown. So it doesn't know the workspaces. So warning, unknown. No batteries, that's true. This laptop doesn't have a battery. Height 20 is less than the minimum required heights. Okay. So this is the wireless. This is the audio. Let's right click. Yeah, okay. This already shows this menu. Pretty cool. And I think that's installed by default on the i3. That's pretty cool. Let's quit that. And this is the brightness, I think, if I scroll. Yeah, indeed. So I see on my other laptop display, if I scroll up and down, scroll wheel, then indeed it changes the brightness. So that's already working. It's the date. So it pops up a calendar. And this is the exit menu. So yeah, I don't have this. The Polybar Hack Scripts power menu. I could add that as well if I want. And here the launcher is also not there. So there are some scripts for, yeah, I would say it's Rofi, but it says here Polybar. Let's let me fix that. Maybe also log out. So let's check exit is mod M exit. So let's do that and I'll come straight back. All right, this is me from a little bit further from the future, I would say. And I just watched the part of the video back and I thought, well, why not fix it? Oops. Why not fix it straight away? So about the launcher, so it said indeed the script was missing. It's a power menu.sh. And it was in this directory Polybar Hack Scripts. And this is the script, so it's in Rofi indeed. And the Rofi command is this, Rofi no config, etc. And there you have the shutdown, restart, log, sleep, log out, and some confirmation there. And also, for example, power off is in here, reboot, i3 lock, maybe that needs to change. And also, yeah, mute. MPC is probably multimedia player and the suspend. All right, so, and also the exit command. And I think that this doesn't probably work. So at least not all the options that you see here. For example, reboot should probably work because it's systemctl. So I think power off, reboot, lock, I'm not sure. So you have i3 lock, that doesn't work for sure. And better lock screen. And I'm not sure. I haven't looked at lock screen options yet. So maybe that's interesting to immediately look into. So indeed, sway idle. Let's check if it's in a repo. Sway lock is indeed in the repo. So let's see, sway lock. A white screen. I just put my password. Alright, so you can customize it. So I think this will work, probably. So a grayish background. So this will be good. Sway lock. Yeah. So just need to take that aboard that you need to install it. So shut down, restart, lock. And log out is also good. Ah, yeah, dispatch indeed. Okay, I was nearly there. Alright, so that will probably also work. So let's grab the script. This one. And let's go to okay. I think we will change it significantly, so let's remove this. And this also does not work. Let's save it. Executable. Let's execute it once. Fail to open display. Rofi. Perfect. Indeed. So yeah, this is step one, I would say. It's looking good. So, and also when I click here, now it goes of course to the other scripts, and I need to change the path to match this. So, and then the power menu. And there's the Hyprland configuration. Hyper. Oops. And power. No, of course, it's a waybar configuration. Waybar. So maybe the script should belong in waybar as well. So let's move. Or yeah, why not? CD. So move the scripts directory to waybar. Not empty. Okay. Move the power. Ah, of course, I have an existing one. CD to this. Okay, and move. Let's ls scripts. Move power menu to scripts. And the config. Way config. Okay, I think the JSON is used. Vim JSON. And the power menu is here. Okay, power menu, config, waybar, scripts. Power menu just as H. Let's search. Just one. Perfect. X. Waybar. All right, so now I have the waybar. If I click it, there's the power menu here. And then let's check. If we log out, enter. Let's see. So if we have this and I see what is the problem. I see what is the problem with him. Scripts power, because it's without the E. Let's try that again. And I think it will work. The logout. There you go. Nice. Load back in again. All right, so looking good. So one thing that I think is strange, this very, not so very dim this. And these icons are not that dim, so probably that's a configuration as well. And this launcher, you can put your own launcher in there. And that could be the one that I'm also using with Super D. I always forget the name. It's a little bit strange name. Okay, so it is called Fuzzle. So this one. I think you can just make a script that calls the fuzzle and then you can customize it. But you can also do Rofi or something else. The menu maybe should also work. Oh, just one thing. Here, the resize is a sub map. And what it is you have global and you have sub keys. So let's say you have two of these. Now I have two windows here and you want to resize is Alt-R. And then it goes into submapping for resize. Start a submap called resize. And then I bind right, left, up, etc. to resize. And then return, so the enter key will reset its submapping. So it works like this, like you expect Alt-R. And then you can do the arrow keys. And when you stop and you want to complete it, then hit enter, and now it's gone. So that's one thing that I wanted to point out. Screenshots also, I use Ksnap, that did indeed work. Control Alt P, Control Alt Q for calculator. Yeah, just some fun things there. Of course, you can send windows to workspaces and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say just have a look at the config and you will find it out. All right, so that's it for now. Okay, so some is working, some not yet. And let's check the hyperconfig again. Here you have it. All right, so these are the maps. V is floating, so mod V indeed, that works perfectly. Dolphin as a file browser I have, so feel free to change that, of course. And Fuzzle, that is if you do mod D, it should sort of like spawn up a menu. Let's see if Fedora has it. So the DNF search Fuzzle. Strange name, but indeed. So no, DNF install Fuzzle. And what is Fuzzle? It's just a menu, as you can see here. So it will be a little bit more easy for you to find the programs that are installed. Yeah, so that. And of course, if you have some monitor displays, then W displays. Now it's very easy to launch. All right, that is pretty cool. And of course the split mod J, you change the layout or orientation. It's pretty cool as well. Yeah, here you can set some rules. If you have the volume controls, you can set it, for example, to float like you saw earlier. And also if you have picture-in-picture, for example, in Firefox, then it will also float. And I pinned it, so I thought it was cool to do that. So let me demonstrate it. Firefox. Pop this video out. Here you go. Yeah, this one. Now it will float. So if you have a new workspace, 3, it will stay. That is the pin. Yeah, you can, if you don't want this, of course, you can disable it. But I thought it was fun. But yeah, just an experiment. So you can, for example, do it like here, right? So, and navigate to other workspace and open up a new terminal. And yeah, just start working. And you have the the floating window you have there. Yeah, just know that you can easily disable it by removing this line and this one as well. So if you want float, that's just this one. So let me show you if you remove that. So it's fun to experiment, of course. So if I remove this too, if I write it, and then I think I should pop it back. And if I pop it out again, it should take its own space. It's also pretty nice. But the pin, what I showed you, only works when you have float. This is also pretty clean. And then you can open up a new browser tab and start doing stuff here. Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun to also look at the float. So let me put it back on by default. And let's close that video. Yeah, so the way bar is not. So let me check why it's not triggering the exec once. All right, so for some reason now it does indeed work. And yeah, I basically did the default configuration, as you can maybe see. So exec wants waybar, hyperpaper, but I wanted to have the configuration. So let's add that here. Alright, so that looks okay. It also launches Firefox. Let me remove that, so it's on a separate screen. Can't see it here. Remove that from this. Hyperpaper is indeed something for wallpaper management. Let's now add nmapplet. So is it installed, nmapplet? Nmapplet. Yeah, indeed. Indicator. Yeah, indeed, pops up nicely here. Should work. Copy Q. Suppose not installed indeed, so search for copy Q. It's clipboard manager. Oh, yeah, indeed, it's installable. Install it. Qt5 libraries as well. And why not, when we're at it, also install Dolphin as file manager. Oh, Dolphin is now also installed. And let's uncomment these. And there was some network manager. Copy Q as well. So I looked at the configuration and the font is Josefka. Let's move the window here. So here you have the configuration directory, and then you have the Waybar CSS. Oh no, not that one. The style CSS, this one. So here I removed the first one, cartograph, and this does this one. And that should work. And I added a copper or a repository. Not a copper, but a repository of Vira Labs. And that should install the fonts, as you can see here. All right, so the fonts are working fine now, and see copy queue is also here. Pretty cool. Could be floating. The wallpaper is Hyperpaper. And let's just download a wallpaper, and that's so now the default one is of course fine, but let's grab a wallpaper and set it. And here you can see that Hyprland is a little bit new, so there isn't a whole plethora of tools yet available standard for Fedora in Coppers or wherever to set wallpapers. But this maybe works. DNF install NK. So there's some nice features. Static, dynamic, NGuy-CTL. Pretty cool. Of course, I'll have the link to this repository in the description down below. So, for example, okay, that's good because Sway, this is not running Sway Hyprland. So WLR is indeed. So NK. Okay. Downloads. Pixels. Mo. All right. Yeah, seems to go okay. Yeah. Nice. So, and I can just do exec once. And this, oops. Control-Shift-C. Remove the quotes, maybe that's causing it not to display. 1, 2, 3, 4, exec once equals this one. Okay. Exit. All right, and there you go. Looking good, I think. So yeah, that's for now, I would say that's it. Hey, it's me again. If you reached all the way to the end of this video, thanks a lot. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, will I switch to Hyprland from i3? I think I will consider it for sure, and I will start tinkering with it, configure it. If you look at i3, is very much more mature, of course, because it's been around way longer. But I think Hyprland has a very interesting edge, and most of the programs work or there are alternatives, so I'll need to figure it out if everything works. So definitely I have strong consideration of switching to a Hyprland. This is very promising indeed. And before I end this video, maybe you could drop some comments down below what you want me to look at in terms of Hyprland. So just let me know, and that's about it. See ya.